Okay, so we are wrapped up with all of our morning stuff. We did some gardening earlier and after I did my workout, and we just went ahead and showered, got changed. We're getting ready to go have some lunch for on Sunday, and we're gonna go and get all of our groceries. So before we go and get all our groceries for the week, we typically only go once a week. We go ahead and do an inventory of what we have in the fridge that we ended up not using, or any type of backstock kind of stuff. We usually backstock a decent amount of protein. So we go through, we figure out what we're gonna need based off of what we already have, as well as we build our plan for what we're gonna have for lunch and for dinner for the whole week. In another clip here, I'll start walking you through our process with that. But the first part of the process is figure out what we have before we go to the grocery store. So then we have our plan of attack on going to the grocery store, getting all the stuff that we need, so that we don't have too much fresh produce and protein. All right, so we just got back from the grocery store. Libby and I decided this week we were gonna have, well, she's gonna have tossed tacos and I'm gonna have a taco salad. It's a little bit different. The dressings are gonna be a little bit different, but the concepts are essentially the same thing. We're both gonna use some greens. She's not gonna use any carbs like rice in the bowl. I am, but we're both gonna use pinto beans. We're both gonna have the same protein source. We're gonna each have different dressings. We're both gonna use salsa, I think. Libby, are you using salsa? I'm using salsa, she's not. And we're both gonna have some cheese. So I kind of wanted to just take you through kind of our weekly haul. So again, we did some inventory. We double checked. We have some broccoli left over from last week. We have some squash and zucchini that's already diced up, that I kind of diced up midway through the week. But we typically try to get through everything. And if we don't, then we adjust a little bit and we don't buy quite as much for this week. So at least for us, for lunches, and actually let me back up, we follow a kind of a lazy intermittent diet style. We do not have breakfast. We will have coffee in the morning with like half and half. So we do break a fast technically, 7, 8, 9-ish. Just kind of depends on the day. But we will also, if we do workouts, we might have like a carb-based drink for more intense workouts. We may not have any kind of carbs in the morning, depending on the workout sometimes. So breakfast, we don't really have breakfast. So it kind of eliminates a meal. And for us, when we kind of first started on this journey, it helped eliminate some calories right off the bat just by getting rid of breakfast. So I will say also my whole life I struggled. Whenever I ate breakfast, I just had not a great feeling. I felt bloated. I had upset stomach. For probably the last 10 to 15 years, I struggled with IBS. I don't at all anymore. I think obviously some of it's related to diet choices. It's also potentially related to not having that meal in the morning. Now, I'm not saying everybody needs to do that. For us, that's kind of what worked. And it kind of helped restrict a little bit what calories we're putting in. So let's go ahead and kind of get going here. So for our protein for the week, we're gonna do 3 pounds of 93.7 lean meat, ground beef. And then we're gonna also have 2 pounds right here of ground bison. We're gonna mix that together with siete, mild seasoning. And I'll make that either tonight or tomorrow, right as we're having lunch. I may make all of it in one batch. I may not. It lasts fine for 5 days. So another thing, we're gonna have the same exact meal 5 days in a row. It's what works best for us. Obviously, you can adjust if you want to, but that's kind of what we do. So for the greens, we have 2 heads of romaine. We bought 2 of these packages. We like these. This is by True Harvest. We actually met the owners at Central Market a couple months ago. They're really nice people. We like to have their arugula, as well as this is their, what do they call this? Just gourmet greens. This is really good to mix in with the romaine. We're gonna do some grape tomatoes in there. Libby's gonna use more of this cheese. I may or may not have some, kind of just depends on the day. I don't always like to have that dairy in there. Canned pinto beans. We also have a brand that we get that you just put in a steamer packet. Libby, do you remember the name of that brand?
No, we don't use that for salads normally.
Oh, okay. Well, we don't use it for salads. So we're just regular canned pinto beans. Those two will end up lasting us the whole week also. Libby's gonna go with the classic Catalina, and this is where we kind of deviate. So she goes the classic Catalina and Fritos. That's her crunchy that she's gonna have in there. We already have some chips that I'm gonna use. I'll crush up some chips. I can't remember the brand. El Patio chips. They're great. I'll have a little bit of ranch. And also Happy Tomato salsa. We get the medium. This is the absolute best salsa on the market, in my opinion. That's in a jar that you buy from the store that you don't home make. This is just as good as homemade salsa, in my opinion. I still think my favorite homemade salsa, Blair Smith. That's all you, buddy. Okay, that's it for our lunches. And actually, we'll probably dice up this. I forgot. We'll dice up this yellow tomato to throw into the ground beef. So that's our lunch right there. We'll make it all. We'll prep probably the romaine tonight or tomorrow, but everything else doesn't need to necessarily be prepped. There are certain I guess lunches that we have to do a little bit more prep, but this round we don't have to do quite as much prep, which is nice. Okay, so moving on to our dinners. Every single Monday we have salmon, and so we usually buy just pre-marinated salmon from the counter at Central Market over in Southlake. Holler, that place is the best. And for dinner, we keep it real simple. No matter what protein we use, we typically have 2 different types of vegetables that we roast in the oven. This week, we already have some squash and zucchini. That's one side. The other is broccoli. We bought some more broccoli, probably brought maybe just a little bit too much, but here's some broccoli crowns. We'll chop that up. That's really easy to chop up. And then green beans, fresh green beans. We will have those also. I think the most time consuming part is chopping up stuff for food prep. Obviously, a lot of the time right after work, I'll just hammer right at, on Monday night and get it all done. Sometimes if I have time on Sunday and I'm not too tired from the weekend, I'll chop a bunch of stuff up, or Libby will, and we'll try to get that done. All right, so after dinner, we always kind of have a dessert, and our dessert that we always have is fruit. We like berries, so this haul I have 4 little cartons of raspberries. Those were on sale. We always do blueberries. Libby and I love blueberries. Our dog Freddie, he absolutely devours blueberries. And then we have blackberries. 2 of those, and then strawberries. Now, most of the time, and there's 2 of these, so it satiates our sweet tooth, and we know that it's got some good fiber in it, some good antioxidants, and also, so whenever we start running out of those, I'll have some mandarin oranges and apples, and also pineapple throughout the week, so we kind of have some variety there. We always buy a sweet potato because typically on Thursday nights is our steak night. We always have steak. Pretty early on, whenever I started this health journey, I started getting my blood work done as a requirement, to be honest with you, for being listed as type 2 diabetic. And I was going every 3 months, and we started seeing a pattern of me being iron deficient. It was showing up in the blood work. So I started having, some red meat every single Thursday night, and we eat it usually on a cast iron skillet. Libby makes the best steaks, and we use a little bit of butter, just a little bit, right, Libby?
Yeah.
and that's it. She reverse sears it. So she puts it in the oven on what, 275?
Yeah.
For about 15 minutes. While that's taking place, we have already put a sweet potato. We'll have a sweet potato this is just one right here, and we'll split this in half for us. Actually, it's more like 60-40. And so the steak in the oven, and then she pulls it out, immediately sears it, and then it rests for about 5 minutes, and then we chow it when we'll have one of our greens with that dinner. So then that leaves Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. On Tuesdays and Wednesdays for sure, we have a sausage, whether it's chicken sausage, pork sausage, something from the meat market sausage, something really quick and easy. And that's what's been really good for us, something that's easy, quick, and efficient with time, because just like everybody else, we're really busy. And so we want to waste the least amount of time. I think where we got caught up previously, whenever we were trying to launch our health journey, we tried doing too much prep. And so we found a middle ground of doing some food prep, not meal prep, but food prep before or in the middle of the week. And we still end up cooking every single night. It's kind of a ritual for us. And we found the easiest thing is just roasting vegetables as the side, instead of, doing a bunch of different ways, sauteing, or just cooking them in the pan, or putting them, I guess, still in the oven. But yeah, we found the easiest way was just roasting them 425 convect, and that's it. So that's for the most part what we do every week. Another thing, we usually buy about 3 half-gallon of the Carb Master milk every day, usually between lunch and dinner. It's become our snack. Between lunch and dinner, I and Libby, will make a protein shake. I will have 2 scoops, so about 50 grams of protein with milk, and Libby will have 1.5 scoops. I think hers is 20 grams per scoop, so it's 30, I think, grams for her. And yeah, so that kind of wraps it up for tonight, or today rather, and I'll let y'all see what we get next week. So we'll see what we decide to have. But again, yeah, laying out the plan, we decide either before or on the way to the grocery store what we're going to have for the week. We already pretty much know for the most part what we're going to have for dinner. We kind of been creatures of habit. Monday, fish; Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, sausage. Friday's kind of a toss-up. Sometimes we'll take the easy way out and eat out just because it's Friday night and it's the end of the work week. Sometimes we'll make stuff, and we're trying to be better actually still. You can always be better about trying to cook more at home and just do some meals that you prepare. It's always the cheaper and typically healthier route. And Thursdays we always do steak. So it's usually we're trying to decide what we're going to have for lunch. And so we have a pretty healthy list of different bowls and salads. And so we kind of just rotate through them and kind of just decide on what we want. I will say for the most part, we have the same thing. This is one of those weeks where we slightly deviate, and typically I'll still have those tossed tacos like she has, but this week I was just kind of wanting more of a ranch-based salad, or a bowl rather. And so that's it. Y'all have a great week. Later.